Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Vortie here, and we're going to be taking a look at the new banner that is coming out here on the 28th during our new event called In the Name of Love. It is all about the Final Fantasy tactics. There is a banner here that is loaded with all kinds of units here, and we're going to be taking a look at the units each a little bit. Hopefully it helps you guys understand what's going on with this banner, how these units are going to be interesting, whether they're going to be worth your time pulling for, and you know how I feel about the banner. So we're gonna start off first with the banner. The units are pretty interesting. Right off the bat, you guys, if you are not unaware of, Agrias and Gavgarian and Alma are old. They've been around for a while. Agrias is like a mini Orlando. She gets her 6-star awakening and she learns Divine Ruination, which will help you chain with Orlando's, especially if you have those extra light weapons, and it's gonna be really good and easy for you to chain with her. It's actually really nice. Gavgarian doesn't get anything interesting. He gets a really hard-hitting move at the 6-star. It is not gonna change the fact that you're gonna use him or not. However, he does have an amazing trust mastery. You're gonna be able to take advantage of that. If you're pulling on this banner, you're probably gonna get a lot of Agriases and Gavgarians and maybe Orins or maybe Meladyls as well. Their TMs are really kind of there for you to kind of pick up and see what they can do for you. But definitely Gavgarian and Agrias' TMs are worth the while. So you know, make sure you feed them into each other so you don't lose that opportunity. Agrias, though, I would keep 2 or 3 of them anyways and level them to max because of Divine Ruination. You can use those to chain with your own Orlando if you have it. If you don't have your own Orlando and you have a friend Orlando, this is your chance to create those high-end chains just by having these weaker units, or these mini Orlandos as I like to call them. Alma, useless, very good TM. Keep her for that, and I'll show you again when we get to that in a second. Meladyl, I'm gonna get that in for the new guys that are in this banner. I'm gonna get into that detail of that. But overall, the banner is in my opinion not worth pulling for, because there is 4 4-stars, 2 5-stars, and 1 3-star on this banner. It is going to be very difficult to get a specific unit. If you're looking to dump a lot because you're trying to get Mercenary Ramza or Delita, then the units that you're going to be getting around them are going to be worth it, if you guys understand what I mean. You're pulling on a banner that has very good banner units that have very good trust masteries. So even if you do not get the unit you're looking for, like Mercenary Ramza or Delita, you're actually going to be getting very solid TM units, just like the banner that is currently going on with like Cecil, and I'll show you guys. Where are you? Featured Summon Awakened Warriors. So same thing with this banner here. You got Cecil, who's got an amazing TM. He's a good tank. Rosa is kind of useless, not a very good TM. Refia has got a very good TM, a very good healer. Lunas has got an amazing TM. Is also a very amazing unit right now with all the buffs. Dark Knight Cecil has got an amazing TM. Has got an amazing enhancements as well, making him an amazing finisher, just like Lunith. Exith's TM sucks, but he is a good black mage if you don't have another caster. So this is if you're pulling on this banner, it is kind of similar with this new banner. You're aiming for those 5-stars, but the 4-stars around them are not that bad. Okay, so we're gonna jump into one by one. I'm gonna break them apart for you, summarize them a little bit, and then we'll kind of jump along with all the characters. We won't spend too much on Agrias and Gavgarian and Alma, or mostly on the new units, but I will touch them up. Alright guys, so let's get to Mercenary Ramza first. Alright, so by looking at him here, this is what they got him posted at. He is a tank. That's the way they're overviewing him as. He is a pretty decent unit. His trust mastery is called Japa Mala. A very nice accessory. Gives you 20% across everything. You should be happy if you do grab him. Make sure you pick up that trust mastery so you can take advantage of it. It's a one of a kind currently. Okay, so looking at him overall, he's got a good selection of weapons, and I'll show you that in a second as well. But Squire is his job, and then as far as his abilities go, I'm going to pull this one here. So we'll look at the globals first, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. So global exclusive here, he's got Branded Heretic, boost magic when equipped with a robe, which is a little bit redundant for him. His a tank, and then you can use him as a physical damage deal afterwards. The magic, I'm not really sure where that's going to fit into his kit, but you'll see his abilities in a second, and you can make your mind up for that. True Justice is kind of exactly what fits him. Boost defense and spirit when equipped with a light shield. Very solid ability for him. As we pull it over here, on the Final Fantasy Brave Exvius wiki, he is looking at some decent stats here. No innate resistances. The selection of weapons is decent for what he's supposed to be doing. He can use all the armors and shields that he requires. Level 8 white magic, really solid. Level 8 black magic, which is really huge. And he can use level 5 green magic. Overall, looking at his abilities real quickly here, Stone Throw is very tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics like, so most of them have it. He gets a second wind in his kit, which normally you would have to use on his other one. I think for normal Ramza, you actually have to get a exclusive material for that. It boosts attack and magic by 50% for 3 turns. Physical weapon break, we know what that is. Mind break, same thing, attack and magic down. Blade of Justice, physical damage 2.5 multiplier and will ignore defense by 25%. What is really nice about it is it hits 8 times. If you have more than one, this can chain. This can actually chain with a few different things, especially if he's wearing a light weapon. He can land, based on his frames, he can land a few hits. He's not going to fully clip in with Orlando, but you can definitely get a few chains off of them if they're using those light weapons. Looking at his kit overall, he gets a chance to counter and gets his innate buffs. He does get that auto refresh as well, making him more as a 5-star what he should be like. Noble Lineage here is going to be his mitigation for the whole party. He has a chance to protect one ally from physical damage. He's got a 75% chance of jumping in front of someone, and he will mitigate 50% physical and magic attack when he is standing in front of them. He also gets Last of the Bevowel, which will increase his defense by 50 when he's got a helmet on, and then Warrior's Pride increases attack when he's equipped with a hat. So depending what he's wearing, if he's wearing a helmet, he's gonna get the defense buff. If he's wearing a hat, he's gonna get that attack buff. So giving you a chance to kind of flip him around. Do you want him to do damage? Do you want to do him a tank? So it depends how you gear him. That's the result you're gonna get here, and you're gonna get a 50% buff, so you don't lose either way. Okay, he will also get a 20% attack buff later on, and then his last one, he gets True Hero, which will make him resistant to all status ailments by 100%. It's a very, very, very powerful support buff that he gets here. Very, very solid. As far as his magic, he learns Cura, Asunga, and Raise, and then Ultima is his magic damage dealing move, which is the only move you really use. So that other thing I told you about with the robe makes this a little bit crazy. So overall, I'm not really sure if anybody's ever going to want to use that, but if you want to build them as a black mage, you can try that. Overall, meh. As far as the kit goes, the character is going to be very powerful. If you do get him, congratulations. But again, I'm not sure if he's really worth spending a ton on, though his Trust Mastery is pretty decent. Looking at his limit burst here, it's called Ultimate Blade, physical damage 2.7 multiplier for 5.4 total, which will ignore the defense by 50% to all enemies and will remove all status effects from all enemies. So it's like a dispel, and he does a ton of damage. It is a single hit, very tough to chain with. It's more of a finishing move, really. Overall, the sprite looks pretty good. The character is pretty decent. If you do get him, fantastic, but pulling hard form is not really going to be the style for this character. He's not going to be game changing in my opinion. Alright, let's jump to the next one. Alright, so we're going to be taking a look at Knight Delita. So Knight Delita is going to be the next 5-star in this banner. He is promoted as a attacker. He is the physical damage dealer. He is supposed to be the badass here, but overall, I'm not really sure how much he's going to fit in a gap for other characters, but we're going to take a look at all of his abilities, and you're going to see exactly where he fits. His Trust Mastery is really nice. It's very nice for a tank, gives you that defense 72, spirit 28, and it gives you a hit points boost by 15%. Very, very solid for those tanks that are lacking in those stats. Even those ones that aren't, it's just a really solid body piece. Okay, he's marketed here as a Holy Knight. Looking at his featured abilities, he's got Strategic Blade, Commanding Blade, and then Black Sheep Knight. So let's take a look at those more in depth and exactly what they look like. So again, jumping over to Final Fantasy Brave Exvius' wiki, here we have Knight Delita. Overall stats are okay for a 5-star base. Hit points are a little bit low, which makes it really interesting being a knight, but his attack is really a little bit higher than in comparison to his hit points. It is really low in the end. When you in all scheme of things, his base stats are low, but he gets a lot of buffs to kind of boost those up into the area that make him a little bit more appealing. As far as resistances, meh. Equipment, he's got a variety of really, really good solid options here, especially the great sword and that katana, giving him that variety of making sure that you can boost his damage really high. Good solid choices for armors. He gets no affinity to any magic, so you cannot wear anything on him other than materia. Looking at his abilities here, the one he starts off is called Amagiani, which is fixed damage. He deals 100 damage to himself, and he'll do a Kuraja style move and heal everyone except himself over 3 turns. So it's like a Kuraja regen. right? He also gets weapon break and shield break, which is the defense breaks. He learns lightning stab. This lightning stab, again, chains with Orlando. It does the same thing. It's the same animation, same frames. You can use this to chain lightning off of him. It's the exact same move. It does the same thing, right? He also learns stasis sword, which is the same thing like Orlando. Again, physical damage, chance to stop a unit. He learns crush weapon, just like Orlando, 40%, same thing here. This is where he kind of starts to differ a little bit with commanding blade and strategic blade. Commanding blade is this big move. That's the one that's designed for chaining, and on top of that, the first time he does it, he will decrease the defense, but he will also add lightning element to his physical attacks for 5 turns. If you have a unit that breaks the imperils by lightning, then having him right there just makes it crazy. Oh, what? You need someone? Let's take a look at the next move. Strategic blade. Physical damage, 2.5 multiplier, ignores 50% defense, decreases lightning resistance by 50%. So there it is. The way I would be running this, I would use commanding blade to get that buff, and then I would use strategic blade after it, and then go back to commanding blade the next round, right? Unless you have multiple, then you can kind of flippy floppy. But in this case, that's kind of the way you'd be running this. It's not in a one move like Orlando's where it increases that lightning or light resistance decrease. This way you have to use 2 moves. Overall, very strong capability for doing a lot of damage. It is a 2 times multiplier for dealing damage, and 8 hits. That's really, really nice. And here are his buffs, the ones that kind of give him that edge in doing more damage. You got 20% attack, 20% defense, 30% attack, 30% hit points, getting really solid buffs early on in his 5-star base. He's got guard from beyond. He will auto heal himself every turn for 60 hit points for the multiplier 1.2, so varying, and then he will recover 5% hit points. So he's got auto regen and auto refresh on himself. He gets the Blade of Revenge, chance to counter physical attacks with 30% chance with Revenging Edge. Okay, that's another move. I'm not 100% sure what it actually does. It's not written here, so he does an actual move. And then he also got War Hero, which increases the resistance to blind, sleep, and paralyze by 100%, so it's not like Ramza. And then he gets the Black Sheep Knight, which is the 30% attack when he's wearing a sword, and then he gets a 20% attack increase when he's equipped with heavy armor. So you got to be playing around that. You got to give him a sword, and you got to give him probably a katana to get the best damage out of him. His limit burst is called Dark Ambition, maybe. It's got a question mark there. Physical damage, 4.1 multiplier at max, decreases attack and magic by 64% for 3 turns. So overall, he is a nice unit. I would probably put him a little bit better than Mercenary Ramza because of his chain ability. I actually like him a little bit more. But overall, the unit is very solid. If you do get this 5-star as well, you should be very, very happy. Again, I still don't advise you guys to be pulling for these units because of how rare it's going to be to get one or the other. Alright guys, so let's take a look at Orin. Alright, so the next unit here is Orin. Orin is an astrologist. He's marketed here as a buffer, in my opinion. The way they're looking at here, he's like a, I don't know, support. I would say he's more like a support unit. And based on his abilities, you're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about. So he is a astrologist. A lot of spirit this dude's got. He's got probably the highest spirit I've seen so far in any unit. So he's got tons of spirit, tons of MP. Everything else is mediocre. His magic is okay, but overall he's gonna be the one of the 4 4-stars you're gonna get in this banner. Looking at his Trust Mastery here, it's called Heaven's Guidance. Reduced damage taken by 1 ally for 2 turns. Interesting. He gets a global exclusive ability called Manipulator of Fate, which gives him the ability to cast 2 spells. It's dual cast, okay, so it's not double black magic or dual black magic. He also gets Angel Song, which restores MP for all allies except self, and then he also gets the Derived Papers, which I think is really, really nice. Boost magic and spirit. And then he does also fire, ice, lightning, water, wind, earth, and light resistance for all. So just misses that dark. Alright, so let's take a look at the wiki and see what they're saying about all of the other abilities that he has. So here's our friend Orin. Actually, I really like his sprite, again, with the hair. It looks really badass. So looking at him here, let's look at his Trust Mastery, because that's something that's got me interested. I'm sure you guys are interested about it as well. So when you cast this on a unit, it will decrease their damage taken by 40% for 2 turns. It's okay. I don't really think this Trust Mastery is worth farming out, because you have to cast it, and it only sits for 2 turns. Very limited on when you want to do that. You're literally going to be casting that one move probably on a tank every 2 turns with that unit. So I mean, you could put it on a healer who could kind of, you know, do that, and you can reduce the damage your tank takes as long as they're provoking, right? So if they got innate provoke, it could work. It could really could work, right? So let's take a look at his abilities here. He goes up to 6-star. His stats are very low. Even his spirit here is low, so he gets those buffs that boost him up, but his base spirit is actually pretty low. No resistances. Selections of weapons is doo-doo. Selection of armors is also very doo-doo, but his affinity for magic is really good. He gets level 6, which is a little bit lower than expected, but he gets level 8 for black and level 8 for green. So green should be level 8. Black I would probably put at 6 and white at level 8 for what he's supposed to be fulfilling the role, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. That's just the way it is. Right off the bat, he gets Entrust, which allows you to kind of fill your party's gauge up. He gets Song of Life, which is a AoE Kiraja, so which is really nice. He gets Magical Refrain, increases magic by 50% for 5 turns to all allies, so it's nice having him around for buffing casters. He learns a really interesting one here, which is something I always liked a lot about these kinds of characters, like ones that are kind of like gambling as like a chance. Nameless Song, he's got a 25% chance of getting one of 4 songs, and they will do different things. So one of them is called Nameless Song Auto Revive, 50% hit points auto revive for 3 turns to all allies, which is kind of like Riku's thing. Riku does full life, but this guy does 50%, which is really nice. He's got a chance of Nameless Song Heal, which is 200 hit points 4 times multiplier over 3 turns to all allies, which means within the first tick, most of your guys are going to be probably at full life. Then he gets the song for increased defense and one for increased spirit, and those will be increased by 40%. Overall, very nice move. No matter what you get, you're going to be okay. And they got a 25% chance of getting each of them. You know, you still have a chance of singing 4 times and getting auto revive 4 times. It's just how the chance works, right? Then he gets a battle chance, which will increase attack by 50% for 5 turns for all allies, which is nice when you just want to dish out that physical damage. Angel Song, which recovers 30 hit points base, so it's just flat 30 to all allies except himself. And then he's got the ability I really like called Dura Papars, or Duri Papers, increases resistance to all elements for 40%. Very nice. For 3 turns to all allies, and will also increase their magic and spirit by 50%. This is really the move that you want to be bringing along when you're getting destroyed by a boss. You need that magical resistance, and you need that spirit buff. I'm hoping to get at least this guy. Orin would be really nice to replace Cloud of Darkness for me, because he can also heal, and he can kind of do these things like random, like a Nameless Song, and if they do get auto revive is a really nice thing to get rolling on, especially if Riku's limit burst is not ready. Looking at his buffs that he gets MP 20%, magic 20%. Writer of History, he gains protect and protect during battle, and he will increase his spirit by 40%. That's nasty. No wonder he's got so much spirit. Looking at his abilities here, he does learn Gravity right off the bat. He learns Cura later on. He learns Meteor at the end of 5-star. He learns Graviga at the beginning of 6-star. He learns Protectga and Shelga later on in 6-star, and he will finish off his 6-star with learning Reflect, which will reflect 1 magic taken for 3 turns on 1 ally. I'm not a big fan of Reflect. It works, it doesn't work. Sometimes they cast a visible spell on you and it doesn't do anything. It's kind of a hit or miss for me. I'm not a big fan of it. I wish they had something a little bit better for him here at the end, but he is a good support unit, and that's probably what I'm going to be using him for. His limit burst is called Celestial Status. It's a magic damage 2 times multiplier to everyone, which is meh, but it inflicts stop 100% for 5 turns to all enemies. This is a badass limit burst. Along with all his nice kit that he gets this really good limit burst. Again, if you do get him, level him up to max, at least one of them, you're going to be very happy that you do it. This is really the unit I'm going for in this banner. Alright guys, so we're going to take a look at the next one. It's going to be the Lady of the Banner. Alright guys, so we're looking at Meladyl here. She's going to be concentrated as a debuffer support as well, whereas our other friend earlier, Orin, was kind of like a buffer, and he can kind of do some healing and some damage as well. But she's going to be like debuff, that's her job. Like, I'm just going to break apart those units and make it easier for you guys to do more damage. Her sprite looks really cool. She fits in with that Final Fantasy Tactics vibe that I envision when I think about Orlando and Agrias and stuff like that. She is marketed as a Divine Knight, comes in at a 4-star. She is, again, one of the 4 4-stars in this banner. Her Trust Mastery is incredible. It's called Chain Robe, damage, defense 55, spirit 30, and MP plus 15%. up there again with Delitas. I think these are phenomenal. If I do get her again, it's going to be one of the TMs I'm going to farm out. Really, really useful. You get really what you want. You get the defense and the spirit. So looking at the ability here that she gets for global, she gets Chantish and she gets righteousness, right? We'll take a look at those in a second here. And then she has Heaven's Blessing, which boosts defense and spirit for all allies. So we're going to jump into the wiki to take a look at her abilities a little bit more in depth and her stats. So here's our friend here. Looking, so they do have her marketed here as a debuffer support, kind of exactly what I feel about her. I think that's kind of where she will fit. Looking at the stats here, overall they're okay. Her MP is really high, which is kind of good because she's a debuffer. She's going to be casting pretty much every turn something. Hit points is pretty nice for a squishy unit, which is really good to see as well. Overall, the other defense, other stats are okay. Her spirit, I wish was a little bit higher for a caster, so you can survive more damage, but it's still not that bad for being a raw stat. No resistances. Equipment is actually not that bad, but for her role, I don't know if these are going to be very useful for her, but whatever. She does get a chance to use great swords and those amazing bows we get, but whatever. At least she's got spears. You can put a holy lance on her, so she can help you chain a little bit. As far as armors go, very nice. Level 6 white magic, 5 black magic, 7 green magic, which is perfect. And right here we are. It starts off right off with the debuffing, so she can break all the elements. You're looking at shield break, cleansing strike, which will give you a chance to confuse. It's just like what we have in Orlando and Agrius. Then you got mind break, which is for magic, helm break for spirit, weapon break for attack, crushing weapon, which gives you attack and magic, and then crush armor, which gives you defense and spirit. So if you're looking at breaking 1, you can break the 1 for 40%, or you can use crushing weapon or crush armor to break 2. Regardless of the way you look at it, the only times you're going to be using shield break, mind break, and helm break is unless you really need to for a lapis achievement, or if they're not leveled up. But other than that, if this unit's leveled up, you're going to be using either crush weapon or crush armor. As far as the buffs that she gets, you get Heaven's Blessing, which will increase defense and spirit by 45% for 5 turns to 1 ally. And then you got Preach, which will increase magic by 100% for 3 turns to 1 ally. And then you got Belief. Belief increases magic by 60% for 1 turn to all allies. Okay, so overall her buffs are interesting. I would probably be using Preach mostly, which with her, kind of get that mage and cast it on my best mage. Make sure that that mage does as much damage as possible. You could bring her along in a mage party for like AoE casting, and you can use Belief if you're interested in that. But again, I don't know if it's going to be super useful. But again, you can do those elemental chains, so perhaps. Then you're looking at the buffs here that she gets, which are traits. Chance to counter, gets the MP 20%, defense 20%. Sacred Knight, which is the 5% MP, which is really nice to see on some 4-star units here. I really like that, because you get to kind of not have to worry about the MP as much. And if you do give any additional MP items, this unit is just gonna become much better rather than being sacrificed for not having MP. And then she gets another 20% hit points buff at the end. For the magic she gets Protectka, Shalga, which is solid, and then she learns Banishka, which is fantastic. Overall, it's enough for this unit that does breaking. Finishing off with Divine Blade as a limit burst, physical damage 2.7 multiplier with ignore 50% defense to all enemies. Overall, another decent unit. Kind of, if you do get her, I would level her up to 6-star, just in case. You never know when you're going to be needing maybe a AoE magic buffer. But overall, there's other units that can kind of take care of it. I really wouldn't go balls deep for her, but that's going to be it. Alright, so we're just going to sum this up, and then we're going to go from there. Okay, so the last few units here that we didn't really talk about are the units that are older. You got Agrius, you got Gevgarian, and you got Alma. So Alma's TM is really the one TM that I haven't talked about yet. It is a very solid TM to have even on a tank, like somebody like Warrior of Light. Defense 45, magic and spirit 35, and get auto protect and shell. My Warrior of Light has had this on when I was doing certain events to get those extra buffs. Other than as far as the unit for Alma, not going to be very useful except the TM. She does have Ultima and some Kiraja and some Dispel and stuff like that. You could level her up to max and you'll be just as happy and never use her. As far as Gevgarian goes, same thing, just going for the TM. The last ability is not super useful that he learns, which is called Abyssal Blade. It's a 3.5 multiplier, but either way, it's just for the Trust Mastery. And then looking at Agrius here, it's going to be for at least 1 or 2 of them I would grab, and then everything else I would probably feed into one of them to get the Save of Queen, because the TM is really, really nice. So overall, the banner is really, really nice. It is a good banner. Should you pull, it's questionable and it's hard to explain. You got 4 4-stars. It's going to be very hard to get those other units. If you're going for Ramza and Delita, then go for it. They are really nice units, but it's going to be very hard to get one or the other. So you're going to be throwing away a lot of lapis, and you might not get the units you're looking to get. There's just too many units in one banner, and there's a lot of uncertainty on what you're going to get. So my advice is, if you really, really want to, just give yourself a target. Be like, you know what, I'm only going to spend 10,000 lapis and that's it, and stick to that, because you might sit there and be in an endless loop trying to get these units, and you're gonna have a hard time. If you're gonna whale out to get Delita and Ramza, you're gonna be very happy, because the units that are side units have nice TMs, and you're not gonna be losing either way. If you get tons of Yevgarians, you're gonna get those amazing bracelets. If you get tons of Agrius, you're gonna get that amazing greatsword, right? If you get tons of Alma, which you're going to be, you're gonna get an amazing body armor that's gonna make your casters, even your tank, very happy. All right, guys. So overall, I'm going to probably just stick the tickets for this banner. I really, really want to get my hands on Orin, at least just one Orin. I'll be very happy. And then as far as the other characters, I already have everyone except you know, Meladyl, Ramza, and Delita, but Orin is my character for it. I get that, I'm happy. Alright guys, I hope you guys have a lot of luck, and I wish you guys tons and tons and tons of luck on this banner to get the unit that you're looking to get. And if you're whaling out, I hope you guys get tons of those TMs, alright? Either way, in the comment section below, let me know what you guys are going to be doing. Are you going to be pulling? Which unit do you want? Are you happy with Agrius' 6-star and Yevgarian's 6-star coming out? Let me know if you're going to be enjoying that mini Orlando as much as I'm going to be enjoying her. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook down in the description below. I will see you guys in the next video. If you're new, hit that like and subscribe button and stick around for future content, guys. I will see you in the next video. I'm out of here. Peace.
I saw it.